Filter brewing is one of the most rewarding ways of brewing coffee at home. It's very ritualistic in a way. You get up in the morning and you set up your filter brew and you start pouring, and it's very kind of calming and relaxing and starts your day off very nicely. So in this video, we're going to explain how to do the perfect filter coffee. I'm just going to walk you through the steps. There are of course many different ways of doing this. This is our suggested method, and we'll do future videos on different methods as well. So what do you need? You need your V60 or filter brewer. There are many different kinds of these. There are cones like this, or there are flat bottom drippers. We'll do another video about a flat bottom dripper, but for the moment we're going to use cones. So you get ones like this, which are plastic or ceramic, and they fit on top of a cup like so. Now you'll probably notice that on the inside there are ridges, and these ridges help the flow of water down towards the bottom. Not all cups have these. Different manufacturers believe that different ridges or different styles have better effects at brewing coffee. I've got one like this, which is a metal filter, and it doesn't actually use a paper filter at all. You just reuse this again and again, and that's quite nice. But I do like the traditional V60, which uses a paper filter, and that gives you a bit of a cleaner tasting brew as it takes out any of that sediment that might come through to the bottom. So first of all, what you're going to do is you are going to grab a filter paper. These come flat like this with a little ridge down the side. Give it a fold at the side here. Preferably do this on the table, and then you can you get a bit more, I don't know what you'd call it, leverage, I don't know. So pop that down like so, give it a wee fold, and open it up into a cone shape. And just a little pinch on the bottom, not too much, just a little pinch on the bottom, just to give it a cone shape like so, and pop it within the filter cone like so. Now, this one's called a V60 because it's by a company called Hario, and that's what they've called it. Now, pause the video if you would like and have a guess why it's called a V60. Now, if you pause the video and had a guess, congratulations for you guys that got it, but almost nobody gets it. The reason it's called a V60 is because the cone is shaped at 60 degrees. People often guess that you pour the water in at 60 degrees Celsius, or that 60 grams of coffee goes in, or the whole thing weighs 60 grams, but no, it's called a V60 because it's shaped like a V at 60 degrees. So congratulations if you got that. So first of all, what we're going to do is, well, we're going to pop that on top of a cup with a filter paper, and you're going to wet the filter paper. Because what that does, and be very careful, because obviously we've got boiling hot water here, be very, very careful. Just wet the outside of the filter paper, make sure it's all wet. And the reason we do that is because once you put coffee in the bottom and pour water on, the filter paper wants to soak up water. So if you pour water in the bottom, you'll notice that the water soaks up the sides. Now, if you leave it dry and pour water on top of the coffee, some of that coffee gets soaked up the sides, and you miss some of that really nice kind of acidity that gets extracted first of all. And you don't want that. You want that in the cup. You don't want that up the sides of the filter paper. The other reason is to just remove any sort of papery flavours that you get there, and just helps the flow of water down towards the cup. What that also does is it gives you a wee preheat of the cup. So get rid of that water, make sure to get rid of that water, otherwise you're just going to dilute your coffee a little bit there. Always have a wee spare cup at the side there just to pour that, or you can use the sink of course. Now if you've got a set of scales with an inbuilt timer, that's very, very, very handy. Otherwise, grab your phone, get your phone out and start the timer when I say so. So next, you're going to use 15 grams of coffee. This is the kind of standard measures, 15 grams of coffee to 250 mils of water. That's quite key. However, you can experiment around. I've gone as low as 8 or 9 grams. One of my colleagues used 6 grams once because that was all he had left in his tin, and he needed to come to work to come and get more coffee so that he could then make a bigger V60 the next day. So it does work with any amount of coffee, you just need to change the ratio of water. Or if you like a more diluted coffee, you can always use sort of 8 or 9 grams with 250 mils of water. Or you can use a higher grammage of coffee if you want as well, depending on how strong you like your coffee. Pop the coffee into the bottom there. Make sure not to get it up the sides, anything like that. And give it a little sugar just to get it flat in the bottom there. I can't tip it too much, otherwise it's gonna fall out. Next, what you're gonna do is you're going to pour water, only 30 grams worth of water, onto the top here in a small circular motion just to wet all the coffee grounds, and this is going to create something called a bloom. When the water touches the coffee, start the timer. There we go. So that's just 30 grams worth of water on the top there. You could put a little bit more, maybe 40 or 50, but no more than 50 grams, just to saturate the coffee grounds. Next, give it just a little sugar, and what that'll do is that'll make sure that all of the coffee grounds get saturated. And you'll notice that not much water is coming through. We don't want to dilute the coffee. We don't want loads of water to be flowing through. This is just to wet the coffee grounds and start the extraction. Now, make sure you've started the timer, and after 30 seconds, what we're going to do is we're going to pour more water on top. This time, you're going to pour about 100 grams of water on the top, very, very slowly. Round in concentric circles. So pour anti-clockwise, that's the kind of recommended, and pour really, really slowly. Now, normally what you do is you do it with a swan's neck kettle, but I'm doing it like you would do at home. So that's 100 mils of water, and you can just use your regular kettle. A swan's neck kettle is one that has a very kind of, a swan's neck essentially, and what that allows you to do is it just allows a little better kind of accuracy and flow rate when pouring into the V60. Now, keep track. You'll see that some of the coffee will have gone up the sides. Make sure to just leave no coffee high and dry. Give that a little wash down and continue to let that coffee, let the water kind of soak down through the coffee. Now, after about 2 minutes, what you're going to do is you're going to pour another 100 mils of water on top, and that's going to take you to about 230 to 250. Like so. And that is your total brew. Is once you've added 250 mils, you know, a little bit extra, depending on kind of like where you're at. As long as you're using 250 mils of water to 15 grams of coffee, your coffee is going to be absolutely spot on. Now, the total brew time you're looking for is 2.5 to 3 minutes. And that will get the perfect extraction from the coffee. Try this a few times, because the first time you do it, you might be way too slow and the water might be draining through in about 4 minutes. Or it may be going way too fast and you may be pouring all the water through in about 1.5 minutes. Now, both of them are not so good. You want to be in the middle. You want to be about 2.5 to 3 minutes, and that will give you the absolute perfect brew. So, I don't know if you've been timing me, but I've been timing myself, of course, with the timer, and that's roughly about coming up for 2 minutes 45 now, upwards towards 3 minutes, and I can see that the water is almost all through. So that was absolutely spot on. If you're pouring too slowly, then it means your grind might be a little bit too fine. So make your grind a little bit coarser. If you're pouring way too fast, then it's probably a little bit too coarse and you'll want to fine it up a little bit. I never mentioned before actually, the fineness of the grind should be going for about medium fine. So anywhere in between sort of AeroPress and cafetiere, a little bit finer than cafetiere, and a little bit coarser than say something like AeroPress or Moka Pot. But play around with it and you will see kind of what works and what doesn't. Now, that's it all poured through. So what you can see here is that the coffee hasn't gone all the way up the sides. If your coffee is going all the way up the sides, then it means you're pouring too much or too fast, and you're not going to get extraction from the coffee that's gone up the side. It's of course going to go up the side a little bit, but the majority should be down in the bottom. And there you go. And if you've poured 250 mils, you should see that your cup is at the perfect level. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that is the perfect amount of coffee there. That's 1 cup. If you do not have a set of scales, you're going to have to just make sure to judge and not overflow your cup. If you overflow your cup, then it happens, right? You're going to get a slightly more diluted coffee, and it's going to be all over your desk or your counter. But yeah, just try your best. Make sure not to overflow. At the end of the day, when you are brewing filter coffee, just enjoy it. You know, you can get really snobby about, oh, this is, you know, this quantity of coffee, this amount of water. Enjoy it. Don't get too addicted to, you know, exact amount of grams and exact amount of water. At the end of the day, you're brewing a perfect coffee. You know, I've experienced people before who have gone to that very precise method and say, I just can't get the best out of it. I just can't get the best out of it. And they're using really, really dark, over-roasted beans from even the supermarket, and they're saying, I can't get the best out of it. So concentrate a lot on the beans you use, the roaster you use, and that will make a massive difference as well. So hope you enjoyed that. I hope that was useful. We're going to be doing future videos on different brew methods using the V60 as well. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video.